Okay. Welcome to another District Gooner Pod. Stephen and KP on the mic. Episode 86. Arsenal 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Sorry, Michael Oliver. Hope you never ref a game. Sorry, Michael Oliver. Happy Sunday, Stephen.
Howdy. Just when you think you get into a rhythm, you're watching the games. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen some crazy stuff. Boom. They hit you with another one. Another one.
They are so good at that, dude. We hadn't seen Michael Oliver ref a game for a few weeks, so it was drama-free, it felt like. And here he comes, making it all about himself, as he likes to do, man. I mean, obviously, we gotta start with that at the top of the pod. Do hope everyone's having a good weekend. Welcome to any new listeners. Welcome to the OGs. Let me actually give some quick shout outs to the Blue Sky fam, dude. Let me see who's here. Who is here? Living My Best Life is here, bro. Mike Hendricks is in the chat, dude. Cyber Police is here, bro. Anna Lindy, Forward Press FC. Let me give a shout out to Arsenal Unfiltered, Lost on Beach, Lone Star Gooner. Shout out to everyone on Blue Sky. Thanks for your engagement. Keep helping us get the word out there. We appreciate it. And let's keep going, man. I think that's the message from Mikel Arteta, at least. We're used to this. Nothing new for us.
Nothing new. We all have eyes. We see what's happening. I guess we could start there. It's the big note of the game, right? The big moment. We'll start with the negative, and then we'll hit the highs, because there was obviously highs to come. When this moment happened, jaw-dropping. Absolute jaw-dropper for me. Like, I think Wolves, game was going well. I think Wolves were getting a little, they're getting a little testy. Kind of, a few calls were going against them, I feel they felt. I don't know if that's necessarily true. They had gotten that yellow card from João Gomez pretty early. We hadn't really fouled them, given them any opportunities to get yellow cards. They had a potential transition fouls, we'll call them. I know Saliba brought a guy down after a corner. Moments like that where it's not right. They're not actually breaking. It's just we're fouling them straight away. This one, classic yellow card, right? Classic as can be. Corner comes. They actually are breaking on the counter. Skelly sticks a leg out, trips the guy. Boom. They are up in arms. Hey. I'm sure they're yelling yellow. This man pulls out a red card. I thought he pulled out the red card by mistake. But here we are. It is the Michael Oliver effect.
I've been trying to decide what's worse. The officiating decision-making, call it a mistake. Is the mistake worse, or the disrespect and the disregard for the observer? Is that worse? I honestly cannot decide.
Explain that a little bit more. What do you mean the disrespect to the observer?
I feel like genuinely the amount of times we've been gaslit this season alone has just been disrespectful. There's been a clear disregard for your everyday observer, your everyday football fan. I think, Stephen, the amount of times that we watch football and the amount of times that I watch Arsenal football, and I think I've never seen that, is fucking staggering.
On your toes, man. Always on your toes watching an Arsenal match. You know I've been on the gaslit train for a while now. We are absolutely gaslit watching these games. What is this? What are we actually doing out here? It's crazy. I love, after the game, our fan base, the comps just immediately come out. At the ready. It's like we're prepared. Michael Oliver on the game. Somebody's probably in the background loading up the clips. What is it? 8 red cards in 55 games? That's absurd, man. Absurd. And to be frank, are all of them warranted? Xhaka kicking the guy in the stomach. That's fair enough. It was Jota, I think. Fair enough. A few second yellow cards. Fair enough. Then there's the double yellows on Martinelli. There's the second yellow on Trossard. Things like that. Just unjust. Absolutely unjust.
The inconsistency in the decision making is actually so frustrating. I think back to just a month ago, and you and I were actually kind of like on the opposite side of this one a little bit. A month ago, Richie Calafiori got his ankle absolutely crunched, dude, and I said that's a red card. When I think it was Mitchell against Crystal Palace, it was that little ball that was a little short, but Richie obviously got to it. Studs on top. That was actually on top of his ankle. And they just let it go. They subbed the player. No VAR review. No, you go and look at it for yourself. And then this was just 30 days ago. And I see something that's not really at the same level, and it goes straight red. It's unbelievable, man. And it's become clear that it's just numbers at this point. You're saying 8 red cards. The next closest team that this person has officiated and given red cards sits at 5. 97 yellow cards to Arsenal. The next closest is 90 that this guy has officiated. These are just numbers. Are you telling me that he refs a lot of Arsenal games and that's why I'm seeing these numbers? Or are these just like the regular number of any other official that I'm looking at and I'm thinking, something stinks, bro?
Something stinks. The Calafiori one, and I still stand by that because guess what happened later in the game? Almost identical to what happened to Calafiori. When he did get the second yellow for the red card, stood on Timber's ankle. Stood on it, right? Studs to his ankle. That's a second yellow, red card. Okay, that is a precedent that I believe has been set. Now you look at the one with Lewis Skelly. I've never seen that precedent before. Never in my life. Not once. That's a straight red for dangerous play. Think about the first game that we played Wolves. Talk about dangerous play, endangering a player. The guy's hand on Havertz's throat. And he knew it. Like, he knew what he did. He puts his hand on his throat, shoves his head into the ground, and then throws up his hand like, oh, I didn't do that. We have it on camera. VAR takes a look at it. No obvious error there. So what are we... The main goal of a referee, in my opinion, is to protect the players, right? Protect the players, keep the game flowing. Was Lewis Skelly, is that really protecting anybody? Is that protection of the players? How many transition fouls do we see every single game? That's a part of the game these days, yeah? His studs didn't rake down his calf into his ankle. It's a normal trip. Yes, it's a cynical foul. It's a yellow card. Gaslit, bro. Absolutely gaslit. The numbers are crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think call it a cynical foul. That's fair. It was a professional foul still, right? How many times in the last 10 to 15 years have I seen Fernandinho commit that foul for Manchester City? How many times have I seen Rodri, Bernardo Silva, who commits nasty fouls, just get away with things, dude? And then on the other side, we see it so far and few in between for Arsenal, but they're just looking for it. They are looking for an instance to say, that's it, you're off.
It's looking for it. It's absolutely looking for it. And that's what sets me off personally. You're looking to affect the game and basically ruin it for the watcher. Ruin it for the squad, ruin it for the watcher. Michael Oliver was also on that game. Man City last year, where Kovacic had multiple yellow card challenges, didn't get a red. One challenge that probably was a red card, where he goes through the back of Odegaard, studs into his calf. I don't want to ruin the flow of the game. It's a game of this magnitude, I don't want to ruin it. Well, you did ruin a game earlier this year, Michael Oliver, when Trossard kicked the ball away and you gave him a red card. It's like, are we refereeing basically on like, oh, are you not gentlemanly? Or is it protection of the players, dangerous play? It's completely different.
It is, dude. And it's to the point where the manager just has to say now, like, you guys decide. You're seeing what I'm seeing, right? Like, it doesn't even matter. What do you expect me to say? What can I possibly say? You're seeing the same stuff. And it's not, I genuinely don't think it's a conspiracy anymore. I don't think that I'm just like putting false information out there or trying to blow fire, because it's a trend. If it wasn't a trend, if it didn't have the numbers, if it didn't have all the clips that back it, then I would be like, yeah, all right, I'm talking out of my culo. But I'm not. These are just facts. And that's why I say I actually think, as I've talked myself into it, I think it's worse, the disregard and the disrespect for the observer. I think it's worse than the mistakes and the bad decisions that are being made.
It's kind of getting there. I saw a lot of comments on the socials and stuff like, I don't even want to watch the second half. I don't want to support this. Things of that nature. Of course, as a fan, you're probably going to watch the second half. I get it. But even having to make people think about that. What I'm watching isn't true. It's not true sport, what I'm watching. Right? It's 11v11. Go at it. Referee's supposed to be impartial, protect the players, keep the game flowing. When it feels like that's not happening and there's an obvious bias there, what you just said was like perfect. I think in the past, the conspiracy stuff comes into mind. People are like, oh, it's just Arsenal fans being Arsenal fans, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's been a few decisions lately, and you get on the socials, and it's teams from other clubs like, damn, that's kind of wild. This is kind of interesting, huh? So it's getting to that point where Arsenal, I think, has a belief behind them. I don't know what the manager can do. I don't know if he can say anything or not.
Yeah, and this one in particular, I've seen a lot of other people from other teams. I've seen two huge Tottenham supporters, I think Tim Sherwood and Jamie O'Hara, saying that was weird, man. That's not okay. Like that, because Steven, what kind of precedent is it setting for a counter foul? What kind of precedent are you setting for something that we've always thought of as a professional foul? I think, look, we love a basketball analogy on District Gooner Pod, and what I'm watching right now, it reminds me of NBA 10, 15 years ago, especially in the playoffs, where it's like they're now deciding this is a foul. You know, there's been a period of time in the NBA where they just stopped calling travel. Like, what happened to the travel rule, right? Is it just not there anymore? And this is what it reminds me of. It's like, oh no, it's a travel in this game, but every other game we're not calling travels. So it's bizarre, it's super strange, and there has to be an investigation at this point. And I mean, David Coote was sacrificed, but that's not enough.
So the precedent, that's kind of what I always go back to, is like, was the precedent set? No, because we're never going to see this again. I don't think we're ever going to see this again, which is also where I'm at with VAR. What are you doing? Why are you just going to back that up blatantly? What is the point of having a video assistant referee if you're just like, it's clear and obvious. You got the call right. There's no clear and obvious error. So you got the call right. There was contact, so we're just going to stick with the call. Like, I don't know, Mr. Oliver. I think you just need to see it one more time. We're having some, here in the booth, we're around 50-50 on it. So why don't you go take a look? The fact that you can sit there, have however many guys sit in that room, be like, there's no obvious error there. We're going to run with it. That's an issue for me. I think last year when we played Newcastle, Mikel came out, was very strong, very critical of the referees. That did not go over well. I don't think PGMOL liked that at all, bro. Right? I believe since then, calls have probably been a little tougher on us than they should have been. Do you expect the manager to come out and make a statement? He seemed like he was kind of soft after the game, letting it stand as it is. You have eyes. You saw what happened. Do you expect the club to make a statement? You said investigation. What are you actually expecting to happen?
Well, I expect nothing to happen. I mean, that's just a fact, right? And the manager, his words were very interesting. They kept asking him if we're going to appeal, and he was basically saying, like, I don't even think we should have to appeal. Like, let's see if they just come out and correct it themselves, because why would we have to appeal for something that's so obvious? Yeah. it was interesting, man. What I also struggled with, Steven, when I saw it live, I thought it was a last man thing. I didn't even think it was for it being like a dirty foul. I genuinely thought, oh shit, is he the last man? Like with 90 yards to go and he gave him a red card?
Insane. I see the comments online about that. It's like, that's not what it's about. It's dangerous play. It's crazy. You're trying to like twist your mind into like, how is that a reality? How is it a reality that he just gave a red card? That's why I honestly thought he just pulled out the wrong one by mistake. He's going to be like, oh, that's it. You've seen that before. I think Ronaldinho, you see the clip of him. Yeah. I think it was on AC Milan. The referee pulls out the red card and he starts laughing. He pulls out the yellow. Like, my bad, bro. No, he put that red card out with his chest. He said, nah, dangerous play. You could have killed him.
It's really sad, dude. It's really sad, the state of officiating of the Premier League. We've discussed this so many times this season in particular. We don't try usually to kind of bring up the official unless we see something that's completely wrong. And it's not just Arsenal games. We bring it up when we see it in other games as well, because it's just about the integrity of the game. The integrity of the game is in question, and I'm not sure if anything will happen, if anything will change, because also this is the best official they have. They treat this guy as the standard. So that's worrying. If that's your standard and no one's willing to raise a flag to the standard, the checks and balances are just completely out the door.
This is controversial. I hope there's people outside of our club that have that integrity of the game come out and say some stuff. It seems like they already did. I know the folks on Peacock, the two rubbies in the studio, they were both questioning it. I believe that's where it starts for the common spectator, maybe that doesn't watch, and I want to say echoes what they hear. That happens a lot. You hear a commentator speaking, they echo that. The people in the game were just kind of going along with the call. At first they were confused, very, very confused, but then eventually kind of got on the train of, oh, well, it is dangerous. He could have hurt, blah, blah, blah. But the two rubbies were very stern. That's crazy. I can't believe that's a red card. 3-match ban for this? 3-match ban for that. It can't stand. It should not stand. And you hope somebody has some sense.
Yeah, you do. Hopefully it will be rescinded in some way or another. We'll see. Let's chat about the game a little bit more. Huh? What do you think about that?
Yeah. There was a game. Okay, let's get into it.
There was a game going on, man. 2 teenagers actually started for Arsenal. That's football heritage, man. That's what we're about. No Martin Odegaard, no Marino in the squad at all. So the bench was the bench that we've had in a while, which was maybe like 4 left backs. So if you think about it, the red card happening to a left back was the best position that we could have lost somebody.
The left back from Wolves had a game yesterday, had an absolute game. I feel like Arteta was salivating watching that guy play. I need him. I need that guy. I need him. He had a great game. But yeah, 2 teens in the starting lineup. To be honest with you, I see that. I feel like people could be worried. Louis Skelly has been money. Waneri, we know his quality. I wasn't too worried about it. You got Saliba, Big Gabby, Partey, Rice in that spine. And then you throw Waneri in there. It's like, yeah, go get him, young buck.
Yeah, I mean, when it was 11v11 for the first 40 minutes, it felt like Arsenal were in total control for the most part. I do think Wolves were sniffing, especially on the counter. They had that chance very early on, like 10 minutes into the game, where the guy hit the volley just over the net. That was a little scary. But other than that, most of the chances were falling to Arsenal. Most of the chances were being created by Havertz. I thought he was involved in a lot of things. He pressed the goalkeeper really well, forced him into a couple of mistakes. He was combining really well with Trossard. I thought those two had a really good game, besides from the sort of conversion. But Ethan Waneri, however, I have to comment on him a little bit. I thought the first 15, 20 minutes, he was out of the game. He wasn't really involved defensively that well. Offensively, he was struggling with his positioning, it looked like. He did grow into the game. He created a couple of really nice breakaways for us and moving the ball really quickly. But I felt like that was also the right decision for him to be the sub. Maybe the silver lining, Steven, as we always look for those, is that we have become very accustomed now to playing with 10 men. We are starting to get the hang of it.
Don't make me sad. Don't make me sad that that's a positive. That's crazy. When Eric did have a tough, probably first 15, I think you're right. There's a few times he got on the ball, kind of lost it, kind of cheaply, I would say. Obviously, we were able to cover, did fine. He grew into it a bit, had some moments. First half, it was all Arsenal. I mean, right? It was all Arsenal. I think Wolves had a few moments, like you're saying, but that can be expected from a team that's going to sit and counter on us. All of our chances going wide. Havertz, I feel bad for him. Man, I feel bad for him. Trossard was putting some balls on the money. He's actually connecting with them pretty well. There was one specifically that Jose Saw saved. Foot save. That was the one for me. I think he headed it down into the ground and he saved it. That was his real big moment from putting the other ones wide. But when Eric coming off, that was the right decision. And I was actually happy to see Richie coming on. It's been a while since the Italian has seen the field.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one that the executions were good, man. There was one header that he just put wide. Barely, dude. The header that got saved, I mean, it is a good save, right? The keeper's going across his line, gets a foot on it. It's a good header. It was fast. It had power behind it. It was on the ground. It was kind of what you want. You expect to see that in hitting the back of the net. So a little disappointing. But also Havertz, I saw when they blew the final whistle, did you see him just go to the ground? Like, he fucking works, dude.
Absolutely did. That goes, I'm going to say the whole second half. So I'm done covering the first half. Second half, come out with 10 men. Dominated. Like, still dominated. On the front foot. That's something we haven't seen with the 10-man Arsenal in a while. Seems like the last few times we've gone down to 10 men, we are on the back foot, all defensive. Not at all yesterday. We were on the front foot, looking for the goal, pushing for the 3 points, and I loved it. We're better than you. Sorry, Wolves, but we're just better than you. We're going to take it to you right on your doorstep. I mean, absolutely monster game from Havertz. Just watching him run around everywhere. Dropped on the field. That's why I feel bad for him. He's giving everything, man. He's giving everything. Yes, get us a goal, and that'll make everybody happy. But that's the type of player he is, right? He's not expected to be, he's not a Haaland. He's not a guy that's going to be drilling goals left and right. He's just not that dude.
Yeah, and it looked like in that second half when we came out, I thought maybe the feedback at halftime from Mikel was, if they want to be like that, then go and get this guy Gomez off. Go and get him off. He's on a yellow. He's got a hot head. Go and get him a red card and make this game. Your objective for the next 20 minutes is to make this game 10v10. Then we see it out. The rest of the 20, we see it out. But that's how I felt, because I felt like Big Gabby had a few moments. Trossard had a few moments. It looked like our players were trying. They were really trying.
Ooh. I'm actually surprised you're giving that a shout, because that is something I saw. I didn't know if I wanted to mention it or not, but like, we were second half, we were kind of being little twats, to put it frankly. And I was like, that's something I don't typically see from us. I believe other folks think that of us, but it was very, very apparent. If that's how you want to be, if that's how the referee's going to be, all right. Every moment we get to embellish things, to play into it, we're going to do it. And we did. Now that second yellow card was absolutely a second yellow card. The guy had no complaints. What an idiot. I don't know what he was thinking. Really bad. I mean, that was a bad foul. But we got the reward for being twatty.
It's a footballing pod, dude. I'm not gonna shy away from saying what I'm seeing. And those first 20 minutes in the second half, I promise you, I think there was some kind of instruction in that to just go out there and be like that. If they want to be like that, you go out there and be like that too. And it's okay. I'm fine with it, dude. I'm totally fine with it. Overall, yeah, I agree. We were still dominating when we were down to 10 versus 11. When we were 10v10, you just knew there was only one team who was going to win that game. And I have to give a massive shout out, dude. This player, not my man of the match. I thought David Raya was man of the match. I really struggled with picking out a star. Calafiori, obviously, we'll get to him. But Declan, mentality, monster, Rice, dude.
There's only one. There is only one, and it is Declan Rice. And it's not just for this game. We have to give him flowers for the last probably 5, 6, 7, 8 games. He is the $100 million man. We love saying that here. He is the $100 million man. He's the standard of that transfer. A lot of other $100 million transfers out there. He's the standard. Odegaard's been kind of iffy. Obviously, we don't know exactly what's going on with him. Declan Rice has risen to the top. He has been the cream. Game in, game out. I would say after that broken toe thing where he was kind of in and out for a while, he has risen, running hard, running as hard as can be, being the best midfielder on the pitch. So we're down to 10. They're at 11. Now we're only running the two midfielders in the middle, Partey, Rice. You wouldn't know. You honestly wouldn't know. We dominated the middle of the field, and I put that a lot on Mr. Rice.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think how much has this opened the manager's eyes to say in the future, can we just go to a 4-2-4? Can we go to a 4-2-4? Because it looks like Declan Rice and Thomas Partey can cover that middle. It looks like you don't need a third midfielder. It looks like that person can be really up there a lot more, dude.
Don't put any crazy ideas in his head. You know how he is. He's going to stick to his system because that's what he does.
No, but I agree with you. Declan's been really good this last month, honestly. January's been incredible for him. And I mean, we talked about this in some of the early episodes of this season. He just looked a little tired mentally, physically. He didn't look like you weren't noticing him as much out there since the Manchester United game, really. I've thought he's back. He's back to his standards. He's been moving around. He's really visible. I'm talking about the league Manchester United game, right? Not the cup match. What's up?
I'll throw in one thing from him that I think we need to start looking for a lot. He's getting shots off.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting a lot of shots off where he's running through the line, picking up a ball, and getting an opportunity. And it's not that Odegaard type chance where it's a cutback, and he's using his pretty left foot to swing it into the far post. Rice is actually making like driving runs through, and he's getting chances. He had a really good shot from the right side. I think it went right at Saw. But that's something I would like us to keep doing. He needs to keep those opportunities because we know he's got a foot on him. I'm really excited for him as the left 8. I remember early on, I was like, he just needs to play 6. He's a dog at the 6. We know that. Just put him at the 6. He's really, really elevated his game after the new year. So huge shout out to the man.
Yeah, I think he just has to work on his heading a little bit more in front of goal. That's like the one thing that kind of stands out to me. I feel like he's gotten into some good positions recently, and he hasn't been able to just get that header on target. So that's one piece of advice if you're listening, Dex. But keep doing you, man. Keep doing you. Trossard, we already talked about. I mean, he is on fire, dude. He really is. And I got to give a shout out to Jurrien Timber. I thought he had a really good game.
My one to watch. Dog. We give Havertz the dog. Timber's the dog. He was getting kicked about quite a bit yesterday. Getting kicked about. He's obviously playing into it in the second half, but dude's sturdy as can be. Strong. Just consistent. What a player, man. Like, what a player. I'm all about it.
Yeah, dude, he had a really good performance. The back line in general had a good performance. It was nice to see William Saliba back in there. He didn't look 100%, but I mean, an 80% William Saliba is pretty fucking good. So we'll take that. We'll take that. And then, yeah, Richie came on. He got the goal. He looked good. The goal was nice, dude. That finish is nice. Actually, I was kind of hoping Havertz got a touch on it. He looked like he was onside too. I was a little worried about the offside situation, but I was hoping he got a touch on it. But this guy, Calafiori, dude, he's kind of an enigma. Perfect Arsenal signing, dude. He's got 6 months into his Arsenal career now. 2 very important goals, 2 highlight reel goals, and hopefully he can just stay on the pitch for these next 5 to 6 months so we can consistently see him and make up our mind as to, like, what do we have here?
Enigma is a good word to describe him right now. He's had a few performances that like stand out to you, like, wow, this guy's a player. Yesterday was one of those games for me, but he's also had performances where he's just kind of a bystander, and you're looking for those moments from him, because he has these great moments where he gets the ball, he drives on, he's obviously a great passer, has had 2 beauties, I would say. As far as goals, his 2 goals are very nice. But the enigma is, what are you going to get from him? Maybe you're looking for that Timber type thing. Consistent. You know what you're going to get from him. Solid defending, good offensive play, overlaps, driving runs. Calafiori, it's still, haven't seen enough of him yet to get that. Put your finger on him. That's the type of player he is. I know what I'm going to get from him.
Yeah, definitely. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of promise there. There's a lot of potential there. The one thing you cannot doubt, there is a lot of passion there, dude. My God, he loves the celebration with the bench, dude.
Do you put a lot in that? I think I put a lot into what happened for the celebration. Do you?
Yeah. Like, well, I guess tell me a little more about what you mean by putting a lot to that.
Squad morale-wise.
Okay.
Getting through that game yesterday. That celebration to me was very important to the team mentality.
Yes, we haven't had a lot of those this season. We haven't had a lot of those moments where we just really all come together and celebrate. So it was really nice to see. And when you asked the question, I thought at first you meant, like, how much do I put down to passion? But, like, I rate his passion a lot. I think that does impact his performances. I mean, he was just pointing at the cannon on his shirt right after he scored. He's about that life, bro. I like him.
So I got that, like, William Saliba. It seems like his head goes. His eyes, his pupils are probably the size of waffles, you know? He doesn't know what's going on. I thought he was going to rip off his shirt for a 1-0 at, what was it, like the 70th minute? Just like his head's gone. But going over to the bench, I mean, the coaches getting into it, the staff, obviously elated. To me, whatever happened in the locker room at halftime led to that moment. Backs to the wall. They're against us. Fuck them. Let's go win the game. Let's go win the game, boys. That's the mentality that I'm feeling as a spectator of my club when I see that.
Yeah, and this is why when I say that I felt like there was some kind of instruction at halftime to get them down to 10, because as soon as they went down to 10, we scored. We scored within like 3 minutes of them getting that red card. So it almost like clicked for the team. Here it is. Here we fucking go. See you later.
Hey, Dark Arts FC, huh?
How about that, dude? How about that? I think one last shout out before we wrap up the game here for me has to be David Raya. Like I said, I thought he was mad at the match. He made a few really important saves. He came out and closed the ball at some really important moments. The one where he slid out and actually got a throw in for us was incredible. And I'm really happy with him. Really happy with him. Just a great guy to have back there, dude. And honestly, it doesn't look like we're going to see Neto play at all this season.
Neto who? Never heard of the guy. David Raya, that's my keeper. Backed him since day one, and this is it. Reaping the rewards of it. I mean, dude's class, dude's top. That slide out was fantastic. He had a couple decent saves. I know Cunha had a couple decent chances. One was like a deflected ball that got kind of put towards the corner, dove out, saved it. calm as can be. Man of the match. I'm gonna agree with that. I believe he was man of the match yesterday. Down to 10 men, your keeper has to step up and make some big saves, and he did that.
Yeah, and the save he made when their left back, Nuri, he was through that one-on-one save. That was huge, dude. That was huge. All right, man. I think that's mostly the game. I guess the one thing I should ask you about is Cunha. You got to see him play 90 minutes against our Dogs. The transfer rumors are still flowing. What did you make of his performance?
I would say he was their shining star. He was their moments player. Everything was going to basically run through him. If something was going to happen, it was coming through him. I believe I'd stay with my statement on the last episode. If the price is right, I'd be with it. If we're looking at that 70 million range, I don't believe that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and the one thing about him that I've thought a little bit more about is, can he also play left 8? I mean, he's built like a midfielder. He's got the sauce of a winger. We want more goals from the left 8. Could he play a role in that? It's just something I've been thinking about. In terms of overall January transfers, look, we play on Wednesday. We'll do a little chat about the Wednesday Champions League game at the end of the pod, but I'm not holding my breath. It seems like there's this Norwegian kid that we might be signing. I've seen him come through, an 18-year-old. I'm okay with it if we go and sign a super young player with potential. I mean, I've seen Marquinhos come and go, so why not just roll the dice?
Roll the dice, as long as he can play. If we're going to bring someone in, they have to be able to play. So 18 years old, that could be a worry, but we've seen 2 kids come through this year unexpectedly, getting the minutes. Let the boys play. Let them play. Before we wrap up the game, there's one player yesterday that I have, I guess, my question marks on is, I always got question marks about him for this season. Mr. Martinelli. Martinelli Hive. Is this a plus from yesterday, a minus? I thought it was kind of interesting. 85th minute, you're pulling off a winger. 1-0 up, and it's Martinelli versus Trossard. That was kind of interesting. Do you have any... Was it an up or a down game for you yesterday on him?
I thought, again, he had a few moments that he just didn't capitalize on the way that you would want him to. There was one in particular when him and Waneri in the first half had a little overload. Waneri played it to him, like 1-2 touch, and he was dead center. He ran at their defender, but then his pass out wide was behind, slowed down everything. There were a few moments where he did tuck in centrally. That was nice to see. But out on the wing, I can't think of any highlights out on the wing for him. So it's a bit of a worry. Maybe he is a left winger. I've been saying, like, why do we play him on his cutback where he can maybe just run down the line? But maybe he's a cut in winger and that's it. He had the cross for the goal came from him. I think there's some credit to that, right? The cross for the goal did come from him on his left foot.
Gotta give him that credit. He did put the ball in for the goal, and it was a decent ball. I think that could have got headed as well. Reality check, that's all it is for me. Expectations. Those are the type of games you're going to get from Martinelli. You just are. That's become the reality of it. We expect a lot from him. A lot of his goals seem to be not something he creates, but it's something he gets on the end of. Whereas you kind of expected him in the past. He creates stuff. We'll be cutting in on his right foot. Bang, hitting it, far stick. When's the last time we've seen him hit that Henry-esque finish? That used to be his trademark. It's been a long time. So that's all I'm saying. Expectations for him. I hope they become consistent from the fan base.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. I mean, he's still so young, dude. There's still a lot to come from him. But I mean, okay, I'll put you on the spot a little bit, right? Come summer, and you get how much for Gabriel Martinelli for you to say, yeah, all right, let's sell him?
Wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough question, man. Now I'm thinking, was it the left back? Was it the left back that had just such a good game? Had him in his pocket. Bro, that's a really good question. I don't want to anger anybody. I'm gonna throw out a high number.
I mean, I think that's one of the frustrating parts about assessing Gabriel Martinelli, about being able to fully make up your mind as to like where you stand on the player. Because on paper, you imagine that's a $70 million player on paper at minimum. If Matheus Cunha, they want 70, come on, man, Gabriel Martinelli is worth 70 million, bro.
That's tough. The number that came to my mind immediately was 50.
That's too low. That's too low.
That's just what comes to my mind immediately. Maybe I'm thinking of... So Smith Rowe went for what, 30, 35?
Yeah, I guess when I say that's too low is because, like, if I get the offer for 50 million in the summer, I'm like, nah, we'll just keep him for 50 million.
Yeah. And that's the reality of it. We should keep him. I believe he has a spot in the squad. Do I believe he's a starting player for the Arsenal? I don't. But he is a player we can absolutely use. Start some games, come off the bench. He can be effective. But can you buy another replacement for 50 million? That's what we'd be looking for. A quality player. So that price around 50 would be, for me, I wouldn't sell him for 50. You got to be higher than that. Got to exceed that value.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair, dude. Listen, man, overall, what is that? 13 games unbeaten in the Premier League, 4 games unbeaten now, just in a row. It's not all too bad, dude. The train is chewing very, very silently, but it's chewing.
It is chewing. Said last, this is what I'm going to keep track of. 6 points. 6 points by the time we play Liverpool again. And that's a long way away. It's a lot of games in the meantime. And who do we have playing today? Nobody that affects us. All right. I'm looking at the table. So 6 point gap. They have 10 goal difference on us. Not great. Doubt we crack that 10 goal difference. 6 points. Keeping our hand on their back. Just fingertips on their back. We're here. We're still on the hunt.
Yeah, and this is a big month, dude. In February, I mean, I think they play Bournemouth next weekend on Saturday, who just smashed Nottingham Forest. Did you see that? 5-0 for Bournemouth. That's impressive. So they're hot, and they're at home against Liverpool. But then Liverpool, after the Bournemouth game, they have to play Everton, they play Wolves, and they finish out the month against Manchester City and Newcastle. So a lot could happen next month, especially because we also have a few difficult games, but they're not as bad, I don't think. Let me see. We play Manchester City and Newcastle at the beginning of the month, so it's just flipped versus Liverpool. But then we play Leicester, West Ham, and Nottingham Forest. Those are 3 good games in the Premier League to rack up some points.
Agreed. The Nottingham Forest one is away, so that's something to take note of. City game is home. I'm really hoping we can put it on them for that one. Stay humble, all that jazz. But the Nottingham Forest one, that'll be a tough one because it's away. It looks like there's a decent break between that Newcastle-Leicester game. Send the boys to Dubai, bro. Send the boys to Dubai.
It's time to go to Dubai, dude. It's time to go to Dubai. We'll see. Coming up on Wednesday, we have to play Girona. That's the final game of the Champions League group stage, call it. I don't even know what stage to call it. League phase, I guess. It looks like that top 8 is all but secured, man. I do expect us to win. Is it away versus Girona?
It's away. And let me check the table real quick. Girona sitting in 31st. They don't have much to play for at all. They're sitting on 3 points. There's no way they can top 27th. So they really have nothing to play for. We'll see what that is. Again, always back us in the Champions League. Don't expect us to go out with a super strong lineup. But knowing Mikel, he's going to want to win the game. Respect that. But then Sunday, that next Sunday is the City game. So that is a good reason not to go all out. midweek.
Yeah, and who knows? Who knows who will be back for that game against Manchester City on Sunday? I'm seeing Benny Blanco is very likely. I'm seeing Tommy is likely. Is Tommy back, dude? Am I supposed to get excited, Tommy?
I saw him behind the bench. Warm my heart. If anyone's been a consistent listener, you know I'm a Tommy guy.
It'll be fun to have him for the run-in, dude. For the Girona game, I mean, I hear you in terms of trying to have some kind of rotation. I think Declan Rice should get a rest with Man City coming up at the weekend. I think William Saliba should get a rest with Man City coming up at the weekend. Jurriën Timber. Thankfully, Miles Lewis-Skelly can play, so there's no worries in that. And the forward line, I wouldn't be surprised if Sterling gets a start. I don't think it's the end of the world if he gets a start against Girona. Kai Havertz should get a rest, but then I have no idea who would play 9, right? I literally have no idea who would play 9.
Is this one of those games where we treat it like a Arsene Wenger Europa League game?
Yeah,
just
maybe
throw out anybody.
Yeah, Ethan Nwaneri could beat a 9, honestly, against Girona. That wouldn't surprise me.
If there was ever a game to tinker, that is it. That's the one.
So we'll see. I'd expect us to score at least 2 goals. And, I mean, a 2-0 game away, I'm comfortable putting that on the record.
Love that. I'll throw out a 2-0. Do you think we'll have another episode before City, or should we get a prediction out for that one?
No, I think we'll have another episode before City. We'll have to
cliffhanger.
We might have to just bring back an old fan favorite for that one, yeah.
Ooh.
Dude, before we wrap up, let me just give a quick shout out to the ladies of Arsenal who were playing while we were recording against Chelsea, and it looks like the game just finished. It finished 1-0 to Chelsea. They scored a penalty in the 84th minute. Arsenal got a red card in the 83rd minute. So I'm guessing those two are connected and kind of difficult, but it's their first loss after, 12 maybe games under the new manager. So quick reset. Just a quick reset.
Yeah, see, it's a red card penalty situation in the 84th. Tough. The Arsenal way, I guess, huh? The Arsenal way.
Yeah, they were fully looking out for us. The ladies are sitting 3rd in the league after that game, so it looks like they are about 6 or 8 points behind Chelsea, who are the league leaders. So a bit of a mountain to climb if they want to have a comeback before it all finishes. Anything else you want to get on the pod today, dude, before we wrap this one up?
Big day in American sports. NFL. Playing to go to the Super Bowl today. We got 2 matchups. Who you got? Commanders, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs.
I mean, the podcast is coming to you live from DC. Got to give a shout out to my Commanders, dude. These days we're all Commanders. Did you see all the buses around the city had
Yes,
Go
sir.
Commanders on them? So the vibes are high, dude. And I don't really like Eagles, so let's go Commanders. On the other side, I'm taking the Bills, dude. I'm tired of watching this Chiefs stuff play out. I'm taking the Bills, bro, to the fucking bank.
I'm with you. Gotta go with the Commanders. Gotta go with the hometown team. And then the Bills. Gotta have somebody new in there. New blood.
Let's get it, man. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy this upcoming week and the match on Wednesday. We will chat with you on the other side.
Be easy.